This thing's awesome. I love it. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Gold Guy YouTube channel. Thank you for clicking on another one of my videos. As you can see, this is another CB750 Cafe Racer video. I had so much fun with that last video, and I think you guys really enjoyed it too. So I'm bringing it back again, and ever since that last video, I bought a whole ton of parts so that I can do some maintenance on the old CB750 Cafe Racer. Starting with the brown one, because I'm not racist. Oh, we got two packages. So here we've got some new clutch plates, because if you watched the last video with the Cafe Racer, you would know that my clutch was slipping like crazy. This bike just has too much power for those old crappy clutch plates. Also, back when I was ignorant and didn't know any better, I put car oil in this bike, which made the clutch plates slip even worse. So we're going to be swapping out these clutch plates in this video. That's weird. One of the plates has a different cut pattern than I've ever seen. Oh, yep, just what I thought it was. These are the new oil filters. We got a slightly heavier one here. This is a new set of air filters for this bike, because the ones I have on there now are really cheap ones from eBay, and they're like 4 or 5 years old now, so they're actually falling apart. Oh wait, you know what? I said I wasn't racist, so I should probably go ahead and open the yellow one before I do all the white ones. Here we've got some new grips. These actually look really cool. Oh yeah, so much better than those crappy ones I have on there now. And then we've got some new brake pads. The ones on my bike have been on the bike the whole time I've owned it, and they're really starting to squeak a lot. And one more. Let's see what we got. There is the new throttle tube. You'll see why I need this later in the video. The first thing I'm going to do is drain the old oil out of this engine. There we go. Had to use a breaker bar to get a little more leverage. Oh, not bad. Not bad at all. But yeah, that oil is very black. I'm going to be replacing the oil with this Castrol Actavo 10W40 motorcycle oil. Now we've got to get these new clutch plates soaking in some motorcycle oil. So normally I would use some kind of bucket for this, but I don't have any clean ones, so I'm just going to use an Amazon frickin' envelope. Thanks to Jeff Bezos. Get some of this oil on there. And you really should soak these plates overnight. Let's get some oil in there. Next up, I'm going to pull this cover off here. The oil filter is inside. That's got to get changed as well. There is the old oil filter. Oh man, listen to that paper. It is just so dry rotted and old that I can pull this seal off. And then that big one goes right in here. Alright, and we are ready to get the new oil filter back in. Nice. Now we can pop the clutch cover off. First we've got to remove the cable. Once I've got that loose enough, the cable will simply slide right out and we're ready to pull the clutch cover off. Now this should just pop right off. And we might have to pull the foot peg off to get it out. Another thing that would make this way easier is if I just went ahead and pulled the brake pedal off, because it's definitely getting in the way. That's gonna make things way easier. I'm surprised a ton of oil didn't dump out when I pulled that cover off. Now all I've got to do is pull these bolts out, and then I'll be able to remove the pressure plate and clutch plates will slide right out. Those are not that tight, so I gotta remember not to tighten them down that much. There's the pressure plate. There's the clutch springs. It looks like there's one more thing we have to remove in order to get the clutch plates off. There's probably some kind of specialty tool to remove this piece. I am officially stumped. It is the next day, and thanks to Jeff Bezos, the envelope actually was leaking the oil. So using some good old American ingenuity, I just used the clutch cover to hold the clutch plates and then filled it all the way up with a whole quart of oil. So these have been soaking for about a day and they're ready to go in the engine. I did a little bit of research online and I saw that you actually have to bend the tab because it locks the nut. So there, that's moved out. Oh, it's moving now. Why they couldn't have just used a normal hex nut here, I don't know. But either way, there it is. There's the nut. There's that special lock washer and then a normal washer. And now the clutch pressure plate will come off. There it is. There's a nice big washer behind it. And now we can pull all these old clutch plates out. I guess the weirdly shaped clutch plate goes on the outside. And man, there is nothing left on the friction material. If these are super shiny, then you'll have to sand them down a little bit to roughen them up. But as you can see, there's still some cross hatching, so I don't think I'll need to do anything to them. That's weird. They're riveted together. I've never seen that before. Okay, these ones look a whole lot better than those old crappy ones. And then a steel plate. And another friction plate. And now time to cut the double steel plate back in. And I learned that the reason they use a double steel plate is actually to decrease clutch chatter. So some pretty awesome engineering. Now I've got that one installed. Let's just keep going with the rest of them. And then the weird shaped friction plate. And that's it for the clutch plates. Now we just got to get the inner pressure plate back in. Get that washer back on there first. We're going to go ahead and install this piece next. It might be a little tricky. We got to make sure all these notches line up just right. washer goes back on. Then the lock washer, and we gotta line up. And then this nut back on. Now I just gotta bend this tab up. Just like that. Now I can get this piece back in place. First the springs go on. And then this piece. And the bolts. Now we can get the clutch cover back on and fill the engine up with oil. Say goodbye to the clutch basket. Okay, all the bolts are seated, so I'm going to use a ratchet to tighten them the rest of the way by hand so I don't break anything. Alright, all the bolts are tightened down. Now let's get the clutch cable connected. There we go. We just gotta adjust tension. There we go. Got it locked down. Let's test it out. It's kind of hard to adjust a clutch without riding the bike, but that feels pretty good. Now I can go ahead and fill this thing up with oil. Number 2. Number 3. Well, it's showing about halfway, so I think I'm gonna just leave it at that. Now I can reinstall the foot peg. Then I can get that brake pedal back on. What to do next? This is actually the same brand of the air filters that I just bought, the new ones, and it's pretty much still in usable condition, and it's really old. This was on the bike when I bought it, so that is a good sign. That tells me that I picked a good brand of air filter. There's the other side. For some reason I had 2 of this Moxie brand and 2 random. Nice and fresh air filters. Now I don't have to worry about one of these things falling off on the road. Now I'm going to change out the throttle tube and the grips. First the bar end mirrors have to come out. And then the grip. And now you can see why I need a new throttle tube. I broke it. Just kidding. I don't give a finally. Now I just have to get these cables back in the new throttle tube. We've got a push and a pull cable. There we go. I feel like that was a lot harder than it needed to be. I don't know how well you guys can hear that rain outside, but it is so relaxing. I might fall asleep on video. I'm gonna try to just pop it off. Okay, well, that was easy enough. Now let's get the grips on there. They are two different sizes. The bigger one goes over the throttle tube. Oh yeah, that feels really nice. I'm gonna have to cut a hole in the end here to fit the bar and mirror. Nice. Okay. There's that. And there's that. Only one thing left to change, and that is the front brake pads. So let's go ahead and loosen up the caliper. I don't even know how bad these brake pads are. All I know is that I never changed them and they're squeaking. Although these really don't look bad at all. Okay, now how do I get them out? Okay, there we go. These two pins right here should slide out. We just have to get these little locking spring out first, like that, and then the pins should come out of there. Let's see if I can tap these pins out with a screw. Can't find a punch, and a hammer. Many taps later. I finally got the pins pressed out. I think enough to remove the pads. Well, there we got one pad out of there. These definitely look a little bit different. Okay, so the only difference is that these have no groove down the center, and there's a little bit more pad material on these old ones for some reason. Really hope they fit. Just by the skin of my teeth. Okay, now I can tap these pins back in place. Now that I got these two pins hammered back in place, I can go ahead and install the safety clip. There we go. And now the final trick. Let's see if it will fit on the brake rotor. There we go. And get the bolts back in. Alright, new brake pads. We're all done. I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I've done all the maintenance that I wanted to do to this bike. All things that really desperately needed to be done. So I've been doing a lot of work to this thing recently, and that's because I really do have fun working on the Cafe Racer. Stay tuned. I've got another video coming soon where I will be test riding this bike, testing out the new brake pads, the new clutch plates and everything, and the new turn signals and tail light, because I actually haven't even went on a ride with those yet. I would be taking this bike out on a test ride today, but it is raining. Just one thing left to do in this video, that is to start up the bike and just see if the clutch feels right because usually you can tell right away. Let's just start it up and see how it feels. I stalled it, so that's a good sign. That means that the clutch is working. Well, it feels pretty good. I think I need to adjust the clutch a little bit, but the front brake feels really nice, and I haven't heard any squeaking yet, but you know, we wouldn't until we took it on a ride anyway. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to stay in the loop and make sure you get notified for my next video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. I would really appreciate it. Also, like the video if you missed the old Cafe Racer and enjoyed seeing it. Comment down below things you think would be cool to do on the Cafe Racer. Like I said, I might be doing some rear sets. I would love to upgrade the suspension. Almost just tip the bike over, but I'll see you guys next time. Peace.